What is up, everybody? This is your boy, Teran Rodriguez, bringing you another edition of Set Point. And as always, we have ourselves a jam-packed show, as we have a lot of volleyball to get into. As the U.S. women's national team completed their preliminaries of the VNL, did they make the cut to get into the championship round, or did they fall just short? And the U.S. men's national team will also be playing its final week of the VNL preliminaries. Do they have an easy road to making the championship, or is it going to be real bumpy? Also, the U.S. U21 men's team wound up winning gold in the NORCECA event at Mexico. Also, the U.S. women's sitting team wound up winning gold in their event, in the NORCECA event in Nancy, France. Also, a friend of the show made a big commitment last Saturday. Where did he commit to, and who is going to be getting this amazing player? So hand me a volleyball, set for next, because I'm about to serve you up some volleyball action here on Set Point. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of Set Point here on IESR Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Set Point. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Monday afternoon, Monday evening, Monday, wherever you are listening from. Either way, you have made your way into episode 251 of Set Point. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, Set Point would not be where it's at without iSports Radio providing the platform to go live on StreamYard. Please do follow iSports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. And we also have a Facebook page. Definitely do follow us on Facebook. Make sure you type in the word IE, Sports, and Radio in the search bar. Like us as well as follow us. And we have a website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news. Our page dedicated to each podcast, such as Set Point, our merchandise shop, because you're going to need your tank tops. And also check out IE Sports Radio on several different podcast platforms such as Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, JioSaavn, if that's how it's pronounced. The list goes on and on. For the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports states around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. The way you can follow Set Point on social media is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at set_point.ie, and then on Instagram, at set_point.IESR. And also, I have a Facebook page, which I really need to start updating just because it is part of my social media. I promise you, I will get it fully updated when it comes to more volleyball and whatnot. And you can follow me personally, Teran Rodriguez, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Teran Rodriguez1. That's where I'm mainly active. Also, we have a pair of shout-outs to give to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. I will let you see what they are all about right now.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals. If you want to get your orders for Seal the Deal Wax Seals, just follow that link down below. Screenshot it, copy paste it, write it down. Do whatever you need to do in order to get your Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. With all that said and done, let's get on into the volleyball action, as the title pretty much says it all. It's going to be a very heavy USA volleyball show. As let's start off with the U.S. women's volleyball team, as they actually just completed week 3 of their preliminary round of the VNL. So last Monday, when I did my 250th episode, I did not talk about any of the women's national team. I'm sorry, everybody. It was just a busy show with Michael Boley and everything else, and I didn't want to go too long. I know I'm kind of notoriously known for basically having long shows, but I'm trying to shorten it, especially since we're on StreamYard, but I digress. All right, so last Monday, the U.S. took on France, and they wound up sweeping the host team for the 2024 Olympics, 25-15, 26-24, and 25-20. So a good win right there to kick off the week. And then after a nice little day off on Tuesday, the U.S. took on Netherlands. Nice, quick little plug right here. The U.S. and the Netherlands will be facing each other in Long Beach in an exhibition match. But as of right now in the VNL, the U.S. swept the Netherlands 25-21, 25-20, and 25-22. If you haven't bought your tickets for the Netherlands-USA scrimmage at Long Beach State, definitely get your tickets while you can. I'm hoping to see you all there. But that plug aside, the next match that the U.S. played was against Italy. And unfortunately, they wound up losing this one 25-17, 19-25, 25-15, and 25-21. That loss actually hurt just because now it put the U.S. in a very, very, very tight spot where they needed to win their last match. Otherwise, they would be going bye-bye in terms of not making the VNL championship. And their last match was against Japan, and I was very skeptical of this match just because the U.S. did not have Jordan Poulter. But despite this, the U.S. swept Japan 25-15, 25-18, and 26-24 to qualify for the VNL championship, which is incredible right there. A great job to the U.S. as it wasn't pretty. It certainly wasn't the greatest thing, it wasn't the greatest gameplay for the U.S. as they had players that were rusty and they had to battle adversity. And obviously they had Jordan Poulter out as well as a few other, one other player, I think it was Haley Washington. But honestly, they really performed well. And I think that the U.S. is going to be a tough out no matter who they draw. So a great job to the U.S. for qualifying for the VNL Championship. So other notables from the VNL in terms of week 3, Brazil finished undefeated as they went a perfect 12-0 in the preliminary round. It was a nice job for Brazil. And then the biggest upset came on Saturday where China reverse swept the number 1 nationally ranked Turkey, which was a huge win right there. That actually helped China qualify for the 2024 Paris Olympics, which that was a very clutch win right there, just because Turkey was ranked number 1 in the nation and China was basically borderline of making the Olympics as it was. But with that win over Turkey, they have officially locked in their place for the Olympics. So as for the quarterfinals of the VNL Championships, that will be starting on Thursday. The first 2 quarterfinals will be on Thursday, and then Friday's other 2 quarterfinals will conclude that quarterfinal. Saturday will be the semifinals, and then Sunday will be the 3rd place match and the championship match, which I think it's going to be fun. The U.S. drew Italy, which they just recently lost to, but honestly, I think the U.S. can actually do some damage. I really think that the U.S. can really do some big things against Italy. I think Italy, I feel they're tough on paper, but they're not world beaters. The U.S. just needs to find the correct lineup and just rise above all the adversity. So the teams that have actually qualified for the playoffs are as follows: Brazil, which is the new number 1 in the nation; Italy, which is number 2 in the nation; Turkey, number 3; Poland, number 4; the United States, number 5, even though they're the reigning gold medalists from the Olympics from Tokyo. Number 6 is China, which is which just recently wound up pulling off that amazing upset against Turkey. Japan is number 7. Netherlands is 8, which I will be seeing at Long Beach State, as well as other people that want to make the trek out to Long Beach. No, this episode is not sponsored by USA Volleyball. But number 9 is Serbia. Number 11 is Dominican Republic. 20th is Kenya. Even though they're the 20th ranked team in the nation, they have still qualified for the Olympics, which I think is great stuff. And then Paris is the host team. They automatically qualify no matter what, just because they're the host team and nobody can say otherwise. So there you have it right there regarding the teams that have qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics. And there you have it right there for the VNL. You saw that the matchups are finalized in terms of the VNL quarterfinals. But honestly, the VNL is kind of like the warm-up to the Olympics. I think no matter who wins the VNL, I mean, it's great that you win the VNL, you represent your country, you do everything correct, and you get yourself ready for the Olympics. But the Olympics is basically the big chungus, the big enchilada, the big burrito. You get what I'm trying to say. So I think whoever wins the VNL, it's going to have a big feather in their cap, lots of momentum going into the Olympics. But honestly, the U.S. they're still up there in terms of talent. I mean, this whole VNL is just basically just to kick off the rust, to make sure that everyone is healthy and ready to go. And honestly, I think for the U.S. women's national team, I think they're going to be a very tough out. So there's still lots of talent that's like crawling in the VNL, and China just added to that talent. So honestly, I think anybody can win the gold at the Olympics. Everyone is going to look really good. It's just all a matter of which team rises to the occasion most. And it could have the whole any given week when it comes, any given Sunday mentality when it comes to this. Like anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So it's just going to be a very fun 2024 Paris Olympics, and I cannot wait for it. I think it's going to be really fun. I honestly think that the action's going to start on July 26th, and I just can't wait for it. All right, but that's that for the women's VNL. I think that's basically it. There weren't too many notables. Obviously, this was the final round, which means every team was vying for position. Obviously, I guess I should get this out of the way. I feel horrible for Canada. They had one match that was late on their schedule, and then they had a quick turnaround early in the morning, which obviously did not do them any favors as they just missed the cut. And unfortunately, they have not qualified for the Olympics, and it does not look like they are going to be. But it is what it is, and I feel bad for Canada, but people should not get mad at Canada. They should get mad at the person who designed the scheduling for the VNL. But I digress. All right, but that's going to do it for the women's VNL. This week is the championships, like I just said. It's going to be fun. Quarterfinals are on Thursday and Friday. Semifinals Saturday. Third place and first place match is on Sunday. So we're actually going to jump to our first commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to be discussing the U.S. men's national team and what they have on their dish this week. And I'll also discuss some USA U21 men's volleyball, which wound up winning gold in their event. I'll also be discussing a little bit of what an NVA team did this past weekend. So keep it locked here. You're listening to Set Point here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Yo, 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 what's going down? This is Spaced Out Sports with your host, J-Man, giving you all Houston sports straight from the source. Brought to iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. In this show, we're going to talk about everything Houston through and through, and everything. We're going to talk about the surrounding areas. We're going to talk about local sports, everything in Texas in general, mainly Houston, but we're going to talk about everything in the sports world. I want to hear from y'all. Y'all definitely going to hear from me. We're going to go from anything all over, from football to MMA to everything. Let's have a good show. I'm looking forward to hearing from the city. Y'all make sure y'all just check me out every Wednesday right here at Spaced Out Sports, brought to you by iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on iSports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Back with segment number 2 of Set Point here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all of our amazing shows, such as Spaced Out Sports and The Extra Mile. We have all sorts of shows dedicated to certain regions around the world, as well as certain sports around the world, such as volleyball, basketball, hockey. The list goes on and on. But with that being said, let's get on into our second segment. Just in case people unfortunately didn't get a chance to read this, here is the schedule as follows for the VNL Women's Championship. Unfortunately, I didn't put women's, my bad. But Thursday is basically China versus Japan. That's going to be a really good matchup. That's always an instant classic. And then also on Thursday, Thailand versus Brazil. Friday is Italy versus the U.S., which is a rematch from this past week. And then Poland versus Turkey. It should be a great little matchup right there. Poland and Turkey, that's going to probably be the match of the weekend right there. Other than China-Japan, I think Poland-Turkey is going to be a barn burner, a humdinger. The list goes on and on. Like, there's so much talent. This is why I did not want to make predictions for this, just because I don't know who could come out on top, just because you have a lot of talent regarding the VNL Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll see where the chips lay out on Saturday and Sunday. because Championship Sunday is the most important thing. But if you make it to Saturday, it's pretty good. A top 4 finish is not all that bad. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for the women's. That's officially going to do the women's VNL portion of the show. And then as for the U.S. men's national team in terms of the VNL, they actually close out their preliminaries against Iran, Brazil, Germany, and Japan. So looking at the U.S.'s opponents, obviously they've got their full team, unlike the first time. As we all know, the first week when the U.S. men's national team played in the VNL, they did not have their full team, and as a result, they went 1-3. This time they have their full team. As week 2, there was some mixed bags. There was some mixed results. They're 3-5 going into this week. So this week is they got to really hit the gas in terms of winning their matches. And they've got some winnable matches. Iran is definitely winnable. They actually have not won a match. So unfortunately, I don't mean to say that in a negative way to Iran, but I think the U.S. can easily win that one. Now for Brazil, by the way, their match against Iran is actually going to be late tonight. So grab yourself a cup of coffee if you want to check out this match. All right, but Brazil, when it comes to Brazil versus the U.S. in any sort of volleyball, all bets are off. I really think that one's going to be a tricky matchup just because Brazil, while they're not world beaters, they're certainly going to be a tough out just because they've got lots of talent on that team of theirs. So for the U.S., they're really going to have to play their best game. And even if it means they have to give some of their players the proper rest that they truly need, they really need to buckle down against Brazil because Brazil is also vying for position. I'm pretty sure Brazil is going to most likely make the top 8 in terms of the men's VNL. That match is slated for Wednesday between the U.S. and Brazil. Now, for Friday, they play Germany, which is also a team vying for position. Germany is also kind of in the same boat that the U.S. is in, just because Germany, I want to say, has the same record, but again, they're not world beaters, but they're certainly not any pushovers. Like Germany is going to be fighting like heck in order to get that VNL championship spot, just because the U.S. knows what's at stake here. And even though the U.S. is pretty much qualified for the Olympics, they still want to get some momentum and they want to get more matches for their players. They don't want to be like rusty going into their first wave of matches in the Olympics. And then on Sunday, the U.S. has Japan, which, if I recall, that team did lose one of their top players to an injury, which is so unfortunate. I don't know what the status is in regards to that said top player, but Japan is the best team of the 4 opponents that the U.S. is playing. Japan is 6-2, and honestly, I really think that the U.S. is going to have their hands full. I really think Japan plays a lot of really good defense, and if they get their offense going, the U.S. could have some tough time. But the same can be said for the U.S. The U.S. also can play some darn good defense. They have a very high-powered offense. They've got some stud players on the pins and in the middle. They've got a very talented libero as well. So I think for the U.S., they know what's at stake here, and they know that they need all the matches they can get in order to kick off all the rust. And they know they're way better than a 3-5 record. Obviously, the first week did not do them any justice. And the second week, where they had their full team, it was just more I think that was just the case of them being rusty and the level of talent just being really up there. I mean, Italy obviously was a very talented team. Italy was so good. Unfortunately for the U.S., they just could not keep up with them, even though they just bowed them to the bitter end. Like, they made Italy work in those first 2 sets. The third set just unfortunately got away from the U.S., and they unfortunately just could not catch them. But for the U.S., I'm confident in them. I can see them winning at the very least 2 matches, 3 if they really play their cards right. But Brazil and Japan are going to be barn burners. Not that I'm saying that Iran and Germany aren't going to be barn burners, but I just think Brazil versus the U.S., all bets are off. And then Japan obviously has some heavy hitters and great shovels. So I really think that the U.S. could have the work cut out for them. But at the same time, I really think that the U.S. can really get the job done when it comes to this week. And again, all the momentum can be taken into the Olympics if the more matches that they play. And obviously the U.S. the current U.S. team lost a week because of having trained in Anaheim and whatnot. So I think for the U.S. men's national team, they just have to basically cross their T's, dot their I's, and make sure that they just don't let anything get in their way. And they just can't underestimate anybody. I mean, Brazil is 5-3, but they're still very much well up there. And then Japan, even whether they're at full strength or not, I think Japan is definitely going to be another tough out. And then Germany, like I said, that's a team that's going to be kicking and screaming their way to try to get a spot in the VNL championship. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the men's VNL. So all in all, I think we are going to be in for a great week of USA men's volleyball. Obviously, I have to give my props to friend of the show and former Set Point guest John Spraw and all that he's done with the team. And here's hoping that the U.S. is able to take down the final week of the VNL by storm. All right, so that is going to do it for the men's VNL portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves one more quick commercial break. When we come back, we have the U.S. U21 men's team to talk about and how they won gold. The U.S. women's sitting team wound up winning gold. And a friend of the show made a big commitment. Where did this person commit to, and who is this person? Keep it locked here. You were listening to Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Welcome back to the last part of Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Definitely check out those two shows, Philly Sports Talk with Bobby Cash and Chris Amos, and New York State of Sports with Ricky K, Ricky Keeler. With all that said and done, let's get on into the final part of our show. So I want to acknowledge Ralph Cleese in the chat room. He says, Teran, legend, role model, good evening. Have a great show. You will spike it, my man. Well, thank you, Ralph. I appreciate you popping into the chat room. Appreciate everybody tuning in as always. It really does mean a lot to me. Like I said last week, you guys are the motor that keeps, you guys are the oil that keeps this motor going. So with all that said and done, let's get on into the final part of our show as the US U21's men's volleyball team wound up winning gold at the NORCECA Men's U21 Continental Championship in Mexico. So This was kind of a mixture of incoming players that are going to be college volleyball players to a mixture of current volleyball players that are currently in college playing at the NCAA level. And then there's actually one player that actually is going to be a senior in high school, which is going to be absolutely amazing. So like I mentioned, the US U21 men's volleyball team was able to win gold at the NORCECA men's U21 Continental Championship. So their first little match was on Tuesday where they played Nicaragua, wound up sweeping Nicaragua 25-20, 25-17, and 25-12. And then last Wednesday, they took on Suriname, swept them 25-12, 25-15, and 25-15. So this was the only set that the U.S. wound up dropping, and it actually was to the host team, Mexico, where they wound up winning it 25-13, 25-20, 22-25, and 25-16. The U.S. eventually received a bye because they wound up winning their pool. That was big stuff right there. Then the semifinals, the U.S. took on Cuba, where they swept them 25-20, 25-21, and 25-16. And then the gold medal match, the U.S. took on Canada, one of their rivals, as they wound up sweeping them 25-18, 25-21, and 27-25. Sterling Foley, who is bound for USC, friend of the show as well, he came up big as he was named the MVP of the tournament, and he was named the first best spiker. He had 13 kills and 3 blocks in the championship match for the United States, as he was big right there. He is just a phenomenal player, and he's just a do-it-all man. So congratulations to Sterling Foley on being named MVP and first best spiker. Also, Sean Kelly contributed really well, as I want to say he had like 12 kills in the championship. If not, it was 12 points overall. Regardless, Sean Kelly is going to be a stud for UCLA. I can't wait to see Sean Kelly and Sterling Foley do battle against one another when UCLA and USC face one another in MPSF play. That's going to be very fun. And then the first best blocker was actually Jackson Christ. I think that's his last name, but regardless, he is the player that is not even going to be playing in college. He's only a junior. He's currently a junior at Sage Hill School. Yes, the school in Newport Coast where the late Kobe Bryant's daughters went, where I think it was Natalia. She played volleyball there. But Jackson Christ, this dude was phenomenal. He was named the best blocker. He had 3 kills and 3 blocks in the championship match. And like I said, he's going to be a senior next year in high school. He is just a phenom, absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait to see where Jackson Christ's volleyball career goes to. I think he's going to be a stud. And get this, he helped Sage Hill win the CIF Southern Section Division 5 championship. And in that match, Jackson had a whopping 54 kills. 54 kills. And keep in mind, he's a middle blocker. In the age where volleyball is starting to become a pin-heavy game where it's basically on the outside or the opposite, the middle, I wouldn't say it's obsolete, but it's starting to kind of fade away. No offense to all the middle blockers out there, but honestly, a middle blocker totaling 54 kills. He just went beast mode. I get it. It wasn't against Miracosta. It wasn't against Loyola. It wasn't against Corona Del Mar, Huntington Beach, Newport Harbor. But it doesn't matter. Sage Hill wound up winning the darn championship, and he was just a stud. Shelby Harris should be just in awe of having a player like him, and Shelby Harris is the coach for Sage Hill. But honestly, Jackson Christ has a bright volleyball future, and I can't wait to see where Jackson goes in terms of where he's going to be going in terms of his college volleyball commitment and whatnot. So not trying to gush over him too much, but he was just phenomenal. And the fact that he is still in high school and he was named the first best blocker, it really speaks to high volumes of how high of a volleyball IQ he is. And also, we got to acknowledge the USC Connect, where I forget the other middle blocker's name. It wasn't Jackson Christ, but he's a 7-foot middle blocker, and he's going to SC. He stepped up as well. And like I said, Sterling Foley, who's bound for USC, he is going to do great things. Like I said, I've seen Sterling Foley play ever since his freshman year, and USC is going to be getting a stud. So there you have it right there. I'm not trying to turn this into the USC show, but Jeff Nygaard, if you're listening or watching this, you're getting some stud players. So there you have it right there. That is that for the U.S. men's U21 team winning gold at the NORCECA men's U21 Continental Championship in Mexico. Another U.S. team to win gold this past weekend was the U.S. women's sitting team, as they wound up winning the Super Six in Nancy, France. So last Tuesday, they took down Brazil in 4 sets, 25-18, 24-26, 25-21, and 25-22. Last Wednesday, they took down Italy in 4 sets, 25-14, 25-11, 23-25, and 25-10. Last Thursday, they took down China in 4 sets, 23-25, 25-18, 25-19, and 25-19. Last Friday, they took down France in straight sets, 25-11, 25-7, and 25-8. They took down Canada in the semifinals on Saturday, 25-20, 25-16, and 25-16. And the gold medal match, they took down China in 4 sets, 25-20, 20-25, 25-18, and 20-19 to win gold. Great stuff right there for the U.S. women's sitting team, as they're also the reigning gold medalists. See, I want to make sure all volleyball gets involved. And like I said, I'm not lying when I said this is going to be a USA heavy show. You know what I mean? I'm talking all things USA volleyball, whether it's the women's national team, the men's national team, the sitting team, the U21 team. I got USA volleyball on lock this week. So that's that right there for the U.S. women's sitting team. Congratulations to them on winning gold. And congratulations also to the U.S. U21 men's team on winning gold as well. So also this past week, the San Diego Wild, an NVA team, wound up playing the U.S. men's Deaf Volleyball Team last Saturday at Riverside School for the Deaf. And the reason why this is big is because, well, for starters, it's also USA Volleyball, and because I, Teran Rodriguez, am your one-stop shop for all that is NVA news. So this was, like I said, this was the U.S. men's Deaf Volleyball Team taking on the San Diego Wild, and I want to say Ryan Manoogian did play for the U.S. men's Deaf Volleyball Team, and he didn't play for the San Diego Wild because he's actually on the San Diego Wild. Yes, he actually went from the Las Vegas Ramblers to the San Diego Wild. And I want to, and Manoogian, if you don't know his story, definitely do check it out. There was a feature from the NVA, and I even did a feature on him back in junior college, like forever ago, before he moved on to Long Beach State. Actually, it's going to be 20 or 10 years since I did the feature on Ryan Manoogian. But the San Diego Wild took down the U.S. Deaf Volleyball Team 29-27, 25-14, and 25-15. This was an exhibition match, so this doesn't have any impact on the U.S. men's Deaf Volleyball Team's ranking and whatnot. So don't freak out and say, oh my God, the U.S. lost. This is bad. And if you're a San Diego Wild fan, don't put them on a pedestal. I mean, it's obviously they have a stacked team, but again, this was an exhibition match, and maybe the U.S. didn't have their full team, and maybe the Wild didn't have their full team. But regardless, it was still fun to see the San Diego Wild play USA Volleyball, albeit it was their men's deaf team. Like, the fact that USA Volleyball and the NBA got to basically combine and they got to collaborate, it was absolutely amazing. And great job to Nick England for managing that and coordinating with the U.S. men's Deaf Volleyball Team coach and whatnot. So, and thank you to Riverside School for the Deaf. If you haven't checked out their story, they actually have some great sports teams that have done great things for their team. So there you have it right there. That's that little bit of news, because I, Teran Rodriguez, am your one-stop shop for all that is NVA news. I'm going to continue to do that. And that is my MO right there. That's my saying. That's my bread to my butter. So anyway, so that's that for that little bit of news. So we're getting close to the tail end of the show. So I actually do want to give a big congratulations to friend of the show, Layli Ostovar, on her commitment to USC. She actually committed to USC in terms of women's volleyball and beach volleyball. So she'll be playing indoor and on the beach, which I think is super duper awesome. And I have to give Layli a shout out just because I covered her in Mater Dei last year when they wound up winning the CIF Southern Section Championship, and they wound up winning the CIF State Championship as well as the National Championship. And I also have to give a big thank you to her for being a good sport, because if you all remember which Layli certainly remembers. I picked Miracosta to beat Mater Dei. I'm sorry, Mater Dei fans. I didn't mean to pick Miracosta over you. It wasn't because Miracosta was better. I thought that Miracosta was better than y'all. It was partially because I forgot that the win over Mater Dei was when Mater Dei wound up winning their tournament in Texas, and they had little to no rest, and they did not have their middle blockers. But also because Miracosta they haven't wound up winning a CIF Southern Section Championship since my freshman year of high school. So either way, I do apologize to Monarch Nation. I now know better not to pick Miracosta or not pick against Mater Dei or Dan O'Dell. So there you have it right there. But back to Layli Ostovar. She is a phenomenal player, and she probably had like so many like offers from teams, but she is going to USC. She's going to be staying home, and that means all of the Ostovar girls will be staying at home, as Ava, the oldest sister, has committed to UC Santa Barbara, or she committed to UC Santa Barbara. Kayla, the second oldest, she committed to Cal State Bakersfield. And then the youngest one, Layli, who is actually the tallest one, she committed to USC for beach as well as indoor, which I think is awesome. Definitely do check out Layli's story. She actually does have something unique about her that I don't think most people knew about her. I certainly didn't know about this of her, but definitely do check out her story and whatnot. She is a fantastic player. She's a great person, and she's a good sport. She didn't stick it to me when Mater Dei wound up proving me wrong. I'm just saying she's a great person overall, and honestly, I think Layli's going to do amazing things with USC. And Brad Keller, you got yourself a stud. So congratulations once again to Layli Ostovar, and also congratulations to all of the 2026 high school girls volleyball players that have made their commitments. I saw a few players committing to Nebraska. I saw one commit to Wisconsin, or a few commit to Wisconsin, and then Wisconsin got an international player. I think it was from Serbia. Not entirely sure about that. Penn State got one player from Torrey Pines, which I think is phenomenal right there. Just shows that Penn State is all over the map. And then the entire class of 2026 is ripe for the picking. Audrey Flanagan is a name that is definitely going to be on everyone's radar, and soon she's going to make her commitment. I think Audrey Flanagan of Miracosta, she's going to do great things, especially in her final 2 years at Miracosta. So we'll see what happens with Audrey Flanagan and the rest of the class of 2026 that hasn't committed. But for right now, congratulations to those that have committed. So congratulations to the class of 2026 high school girls volleyball commits. And to those that haven't committed, don't worry, you've got plenty of time. All right, but that is that for that little bit of high school girls volleyball news. So before I head on out, yesterday actually did mark something quite phenomenal. So yesterday actually marked the 5-year anniversary of when I joined IE Sports Radio. So I actually did not make note of this on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show last Friday, but I will just make note of it right now just because yesterday was the anniversary. So this was basically around, this was like sometime in June. I think it was like June 15th, which was the day before I officially joined. And then I got a notification on my phone from Twitter, back when it was called Twitter, and it was from the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B. And he said, good evening. Hope you are doing well. We need a host for our volleyball show, not for our volleyball show, for a baseball show, which at the time we had a baseball show, but I digress. And he said, would you be interested? It's like, well, I'm taking a podcast class now, so maybe that'll mean something. Eventually, I joined IE Sports Radio, and yes, the 5-year anniversary of Set Point won't be until a little bit longer, but this is my 5-year anniversary of joining IE Sports Radio, which I think is phenomenal. And I just got to say, from the bottom of my heart, I'm eternally grateful for being a part of the IE Sports Radio family, for all of that Larry B, as well as everyone else has poured their hearts into, as well as myself. I mean, Larry B is just a workhorse. He does everything. He also mans the station while balancing teaching and working on his master's, and then he's got his wife and whatnot. So I definitely do appreciate Larry for reaching out to me that one day and saying, we're looking for a host for our baseball show. Would you be interested? And then thank you, Larry. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. You're the man too, as well. But I really am grateful for all that Larry has done, for all of my teammates. I wouldn't want it to be any other way. And I'm glad I've made so many memories, whether it's with Set Point, whether it's the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, whether it's with 3 and Out College Edition. It just means so much that I'm able to get on this platform on StreamYard, and then I'm able to basically put out some content with Set Point and the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. It just really means a lot to me. And honestly, I could not be more happy to be part of the IE Sports Radio family, and I hope to have so many more years with IE Sports Radio to come. So June 16th was basically the day that IE Sports Radio found me. Well, maybe it was June 15th, but regardless, anything past 5 years is pretty much considered ancient history, in my opinion. But honestly, June 16th is a day of officially when I joined the IE Sports Radio family, where Larry B introduced me to everybody, saying, everyone, please welcome the new co-host of our baseball show, Teran Rodriguez. And then everyone greeted me with open arms. I remember it was Pierre Moss and Daryl Kinsey Jr. I appreciated the warm welcomes, and I appreciate all my IE Sports Radio family. I love y'all. Y'all mean a lot to me. I know my heart isn't all that great, but so there you go right there. So I'm not trying to get all gushy and mushy and whatnot, but I just am eternally grateful for everyone, and especially to Larry B. It really means a lot. I'm glad to be doing 3 and Out College Edition, Set Point, and the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I also had some other stints when it came to some other shows like The Extra Mile, The Defining Moment. So I enjoyed those stints as well. And also Fast Break back when Phil Jones and Phil Robinson were the hosts. So again, I just wanted to dedicate that last part of Set Point to IE Sports Radio for all that they've done and all that Larry B has done. It really means a lot. And the work that Larry B and Angela have done behind the scenes does not go unnoticed by me. I am eternally grateful. And here's to so many more years to come with IE Sports Radio, with Set Point, with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and with 3 and Out College Edition. Larry says, you mean so much to the station, man. Thank you for all that you've contributed. Well, thank you, Larry. That really means a lot. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of Set Point. It is time for me to drop the beat, because I'm about to dip like a banana in chocolate. You feel me? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Set Point. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I really do appreciate you. Shout out to Larry B. To anyone else who is listening in the chat room. It really means a lot. You really do. Like I said, you are the oil that keeps this motor going. It just means the world that you tuned in. You got to see my mug on StreamYard. I will be back with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on Friday at 3:15 p.m. Pacific time. And I should be back with another episode of Set Point next week. So thank you to everyone that kept on viewing, whether you were watching on Instagram, whether you were watching on X, formerly Twitter, whether you were watching on YouTube. It truly means a lot. For everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have yourself a great rest of the week. Enjoy the volleyball action with the VNL on the men's and women's side. I will see you all on Friday for the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Peace!